Yeah. Let's put up that picture of a volcano. You know, I'm working on this book, the Book of Joy, and the nice part about the Book of Joy is it's really honest about the stuff that's not joy. And this poster just blazed into my mind, you know, thinking about meditation and when you're supposed to meditate. And, you know, I have to admit this is a little bit of rebellious, like meditate this. Really, the picture I would have shown would have been any number of pictures, like maybe a picture of a drive into Iowa City or a picture of Roland's leg. One, I don't know if you know this about Facebook, but they will sometimes go into your pictures and pop up a little thing that says Monday morning in Des Moines or something, and it shows you like 10 photos. One morning, I'd taken a bunch of pictures of Roland's leg to show the doctor, so this Monday morning in Des Moines with a whole, you know, a panorama of like, and I was like, I don't think that would be a good post. But this is to address how when all of us have that reaction, like let's just say you were somewhere around that volcano, would you want to meditate right then in that moment? Possibly not, which is why we have spiritual practice and meditate before. Maybe if you were at your hut at the bottom of the mountain and there was nothing to do, maybe that would be a good time to meditate. Maybe it would be a good time to run, right? Or hightail it out of there. Anyway. So, meditate this. And the Dalai Lama has this awesome meditation. He apparently does 5 times a day. And I want to get this part right. There's a little bit I want to make sure I quote exactly right. He calls it the clear light of death meditation. We are training our mind by going through a detailed process of what we will experience at the time of death, according to a Buddhist Vajrayana or something like that. There are different levels of consciousness, and here's about this. Dissolution that occurs at the grosser levels of our bodily and mental states comes to an end when more and more subtle levels become manifest, okay? So like when our physical body stops, our soul maybe has a place to arise. Now, a Western scientist, Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, who suffered a stroke, had a beautiful scientific description of what happened. You know, as her brain and her body stuff shut down, her Christ consciousness arose, and she describes this awesome state. So this is what I want to talk about today. Now, here is another thing that the Dalai Lama says. At the innermost or most subtle level, this state of clear light arises at the moment of dying, not death. No, we don't believe that death is the end. Dying. Physical feeling completely ceases. Breathing ceases. The heart ceases. Brain also ceases its functioning. But there are still subtle levels of consciousness remain, and in the Buddhist tradition, these would be getting ready for another destination to live. This consciousness is free of duality and content and abides in the form of pure luminosity. So think about that. The state of clear light arises. This is what I want to talk about today. This is the exciting part of me, exciting part to me, and even in the midst of the volcano, there's the clear light of consciousness. It's interesting that the Buddhist teaching has us go to a state where we approach death. Because our physical totality, you know, who we are so hooked into being the way we are being and in this moment and that moment and all the distractions and feeling and all that, that the clear light of being gets a little bit lost. So that's the purpose of having a meditation 5 times a day where you contemplate that state. And that state is what our spiritual path is heading us toward. Now, the Christian tradition has it that you have this lifetime and you die, and then you get to be in that state. And the Buddhists and the Hindu and many other traditions have it that this is one of our workshops and we get to keep processing. I have to say that it just seems a little more reasonable to me, that because of the iniquity of, some person might get a 5-year lifespan, somebody might get a 90-year lifespan, somebody might get, holy parents, somebody might get people who have no, people who have no tradition, whatever it is. I like the thought of we all get lots of chances to perfect our ability. But it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what you think. And of course, it doesn't really matter what we think. What matters is what is, right? Ultimately. But what matters is what you know inside you. And the other thing I know is it doesn't matter. You don't need a bunch of lifetimes. All you need is this moment. You don't even need your whole lifetime. All you need is today, right now. If we can get to the space between thinking and being, if we can get right to that space where the clear luminosity of our soul exists, then it's like magic. Now, think about it. Have you felt like in flow? The result of any weird little circumstance, like there ain't, something happens, lizard brain, whatever it is. It's like, whatever it is that's slightly annoying, whatever it is. Whatever person crosses your path that perhaps triggers you, lizard brain. That's why we meditate. That's why we're on our spiritual path. And just the fact that in my brain, in a way, the picture of the volcano is a little bit of my lizard brain going, oh yeah, God? Oh yeah? Meditate this, That's also my sense of humor, but it's also my lizard brain. It's funny because it's true. Now, Daniel Siegel says that we inherited our reactivity from our fight or flight ancestors. And so much of our inner journey means freeing ourselves from this evolutionary response so that we do not flip our lid or lose our higher reasoning when faced with stressful situations. The real secret of freedom may simply be extending this brief space between stimulus and response. Meditation seems to elongate this pause and help expand our ability to choose our response. Now, the brief space between stimulus and response, where we abide in peace and where we are the luminosity of the Christ. In unity, we teach that we are the Christ, and that's what we mean by that. We mean that space between stimulus and response that is not the lizard brain, but it is compassion and love. Kindness comes from there. Sweetness comes from there. Wisdom. The word refrain, being able to refrain, comes from there, from that space. Now, we also want to have understanding. It's in since it's in us, right? It's part of our evolution. So nobody get down on ourselves. Don't get down on yourself or anybody else. It's in that DNA. It's in our brain. It's in our body. But we have what I got used to be raised with as a Catholic, free will, my conscience. We have choice. We have the part of our brain that can choose. And that's what we want to cultivate. And over again, we are finding from ancient teachers to current brain scientists that meditation is the way to go. Now, that means that everybody, including myself, needs to meditate more, because I haven't seen anybody who has no lizard brain. I haven't seen it, and I certainly haven't seen it outpictured in the world these days. The lizard brain seems to be having a heyday. Well, it's up to us to activate our prefrontal cortex as often as possible to find that luminous light of who we truly are and change the out picture, We want to change that. Another book I've been reading is Paul Selig's The Book of Love and Creation. And he talks a little bit about what is the work of light. What does the light do? How are you supposed to respond to it? How do you work with light for the benefit of your lives and the lives of others? Well, it's interesting that part of light in us enables us to bypass the fear. The response. Let's face it, the lizard brain doesn't come out of meanness. It comes out of fear. It's always fear. A Course in Miracles breaks it down over and over again. Fear, love. Fear, love. Choose love. Go ahead, notice the fear, choose love. Choose love again. Fear, love. And the thing about that helps many of us is that you bypass guilt. If you just say fear, love, okay, that was some fear. What am I hearing? Oh, that person who I judge, and believe me, I am judging that person. They're acting out of fear. Really? Greed? Yep, even greed is out of fear. Not caring is out of fear. It's all out of fear. It's our chance to choose love. Right now. Choose love. Now, when we talk about being the Christ in unity, we are talking about choosing love. When we read A Course in Miracles and interpret something, an action, as love or a call for love, we are practicing being the light. Think about it this way. Fear creates more fear. Fear of anything, and we start creating everything we create to protect us, and it creates more fear. Like if you are afraid of something and you need to make protection, you're going to make more fear. You're going to end up with a fenced house and a gated community, and then you're going to end up inside the gated community afraid to go outside. You get smaller, and your world gets smaller and smaller. Now, nothing happens in the physical plane without it occurring first on a level of consciousness. That's a strong unity message that I keep coming back to, and I admit that I fight against it a little bit. What? I did not make that happen. Let me say it again. Nothing happens in the physical plane without it occurring first on a level of consciousness. That is a teaching that we are learning. Meditation can help us on the physical plane, listen to the brain scientists, as well as the metaphysical plane. So meditation is the thing that helps us thought-wise and physical-wise and soul-wise. Okay? So it works on all those levels. It doesn't just work at the physical level where your brain gets the right chemicals as you meditate. That's one level. The other level is the soul level, that connection to all that is. The reason that I keep showing up here and I keep doing spiritual practice is because I felt that beautiful connection that carries me through the cruddier parts of life. I mean, life is a jungle, not so much a park. You know? There are alligators, tigers, whatever it is in your particular jungle or swamp, as well as the beautiful, peaceful lagoon, the broad expanse of green. And our spiritual practice, our connection to spirit, is what is going to help us transcend. And I can't say enough how important it is now when you look out and you feel discouraged from maybe your bank account, maybe the newspaper, maybe something happening the way you didn't want it to happen. Did anybody have any of those things this week? I know I did. Okay, right, I did too. I'm sorry it's the same old answer, but it's the answer that works. It really is the answer that works. We have to take the time, we have to take the responsibility to meditate and then start to build our consciousness to create something different. I'm a big believer in affirmations. I'm a big believer in healing by directing your cells to do what you want them to do. I'm a big believer in prayer, the help of prayer, and the help of people praying for you. You know, all of it seems to work in a beautiful, mysterious way. And the cornerstone is taking time by yourself or in a group of people who are agreeing to be quiet and do this spiritual practice. It will change everything. Now, it's not just these guys. It's not just the Course in Miracles. It's kind of all over. There's a few quotes from the Bible about the light. I'll just read you one from Luke. If then your whole body is full of light, with no part of it in darkness, it will be as full of light as when a lamp gives you light with its rays. You know, John is always going on about, I am the light of the world. There's many, many quotes where Jesus says, I am the light of the world. Now, there's a beautiful poem. Let's see if this works. You never know. Well, maybe I should turn it on. Let's try that again. Oh, there it is. Now, so let me do it. I want to see if it works. I want to go back. I'll keep going forward instead of back. Can you guys put me back to the first one? Sorry. It just doesn't seem to be working how it should. Can you put me back to the volcano? No, I know, it's just not working. Oh.
It's on the wrong side.
Oh. The wrong side?
Yep, you had it as the mouse.
Oh, I see. God, isn't it good we have technical people who are younger than us to help us? Oh my gosh, what would I do? All right. Thank you. He knew right away what I was doing. I'm like, it's all, the world is upside down. It's going backwards. Yeah, you have to push this button here. I'm sorry, just correct me up. All right, so we're going to go from the volcano, meditate this, to this absolutely beautiful poem by a rabbi. The rabbi Abraham Isaac Kook. The poem is Radiant is the World's Soul. Just let this wash over you. Look at the pretty pictures. Full of splendor and beauty, full of life, of souls hidden, of treasures of the Holy Spirit, of fountains of strength, of greatness and beauty. Trigger happy. Okay. Proudly I ascend toward the heights of the world soul that gives life to the universe. How majestic the vision. Come, enjoy. Come, find peace. Embrace delight. Taste and see that God is good. Why spend your substance on what does not nourish, and your labor on what cannot satisfy? Listen to me, and you will enjoy what is good and find delight in what is truly precious. Listen to me, and you will enjoy what is good and find your light inside, and that is truly precious. Let's take an offering for unity.